just something to think about.
Yeah.
Right. At least I would be surprised if they actually showed up, but it'd be cool if they did at least some references. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And then we see, they gotta get some fucking message, and then they gotta take off because they're fighting, and Finn hops right into the seat and shooting off the laser cannon just like Luke used to when Han was flying. And another thing that I noticed that they were doing is they were really moving Poe in the direction of a Han Solo kind of a guy. They were really pushing it. I really felt like he was a Han Solo kind of a guy. I'm like, that's a good choice. Good move on that. I really like that. Yep. And then they started light speed skipping, which how can you not think that's just fucking awesome? And then right at the end, they're about to get eaten by a big monster. Oh, another memory packet. Memory pocket. Remember, just like in Empire Strikes Back, they almost got eaten by a big old monster one in the Falcon.
Yeah, the big worm. Yeah.
Yep. And then we flash over to Rey is training to be a Jedi, and she's sitting there floating with all the rocks around her, kind of like Luke Skywalker did. Remember, he was doing a handstand and having all the rocks float around him.
Yeah.
Which that seemed to me kind of pulled into, okay, so she seems to be a whole lot more powerful than Luke was, at least at this stage of the game.
Yes.
And then they, she's taking off. She's talking to her master, who happens to be Leia. So now we know for a fact that Leia was trained in the Force. Now we always thought it, but they officially said it right hardcore. She was trained, and she was the master. Which
later on in the movie, yes.
And she takes off, or Rey takes off, and she's going through the training course, and she's fighting one of those little flying droids. Who else fought one of those? Oh, wait a minute. Luke fought one of those, didn't he?
Yes.
Another little memory. And then you see Kylo putting his helmet back together.
Mm-hmm.
And which I liked it. I liked the fact that he was putting it back together. I thought the red streaks in it made it look really, really cool.
Yeah.
I just personally didn't really care for that helmet. I think it was just a little too small for his body. And then he's talking to all the commanders, and once again, that general stands up and just starts mocking the Force. Yes. Motherfuckers ain't gonna learn. But this time we see fucking Kylo gets a little more angry than Vader did. He slings that motherfucker to the ceiling.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep going down the list. If you have something, pipe in. All right.
No, all I'm saying right now, as you're going down the list, I'm thinking how this movie, Kylo, when he was first introduced in The Force Awakens, I mean, obviously a lot of us didn't like him. It was like, oh, not that guy. It's kind of like the guy that we love to hate. And I guess as you continue on the movie, you find out that he becomes this person you love to hate to becoming an actual lovable character.
Right. And, well, once, didn't I maybe I forgot to say something. Didn't we forgot to talk about when the movie opens up, it shows him going fucking berserk in that forest with his lightsaber.
Oh, yeah. That was a pretty awesome fucking scene.
Ooh.
That was
God damn it, dude. Yeah. And I got to say, I liked the way they portrayed his lightsaber. It was very flame-like. And Rey's was very, I don't know, almost stiff. I don't know. I didn't really care for the ones, like how they portrayed hers. But his was badass. And then they head to the desert. Our lovable characters, they head to the desert. And there's that party going on. And 3PO informs them that the party is held once every 42 years.
Yes. 42 years
is when the first movie came out.
That's what I'm saying.
See?
I was like, okay.
That another nod. All right, I'll go with it.
Yep.
And then that cute little alien that they have there. gives Rey a necklace, and kind of getting a little personal with her, wants to know her name and her surname and everything, and
Yeah.
which kind of leads up to this whole movie is about identity and who you are as a person. What's your identity? What is your identity going to be as a person? We
Yes.
find out from all the characters, we learn something about all of them, and we also realize that their past is not what defines them, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. Remember, even Leia, before when Rey decided that she wasn't going to complete her training because something happened, Leia, I guess when she's talking to tells her, "Don't be afraid of who you are," or something, kind of
Right.
letting her know, I know who you are. You need to don't be
Yep.
afraid of who you
Oh,
are.
that reminded right before then, or at that moment. I forgot to say something. She leaves Leia
Mhm.
just like Luke did. Just like Luke had to leave Yoda when his
Yoda.
training wasn't finished yet.
Yes,
Yeah.
to go find her friends.
So,
Go find his friends.
yep. So it's just it's a constant reminder of days of yore. And then let's see. Oh, and when they're on this planet, who do they run into? Who saves their ass? The one and only Lando Calrissian.
Calrissian, yes.
And he was disguised very similarly to the way he was disguised in Return of the Jedi. Yay!
Yeah, Return of the Jedi.
And once again, they're in the desert once again.
Yep.
And when he hugs Chewie, and Chewie, oh my God, did you not just feel the love? Like it just,
yeah.
Chewie, old buddy. Oh,
yeah.
I wanted to cry. I was like almost in tears.
Yeah, it's a pretty emotional moment.
And then what else? Let's say.
You see, you got one on me. You've seen this movie twice. I've only seen it once, Friday, and
Right.
It's funny because things start to bounce around your head.
Yeah, you almost have to see, if you want to talk about it, you almost have to see it twice, because once you're just so in awe of everything that's happening.
I mean, I got the main points. Like when I went to see it, I wanted to see if my theory was right, and like I said, it was half-ass right, I guess. But,
yeah, we talked about what if Rey was a Palpatine?
Yeah, we were saying that that would get us. We're getting ahead of what we're doing here right now.
Right.
But that was one of our theories. And then of course I was saying, what if she turns evil, Kylo turns good, and since he still has blood of Skywalker in him because he's Leia's son. I mean that's what they mean by the rise of Skywalker. But anyway, let's continue with this, man.
Okay, let's go back.
The moments here.
Okay, relive them with me. All right. So if I get to talking too much, just tell me to shut the fuck up.
No. I'm enjoying this, man.
One thing that Lando does that I thought was really, really classy is when he's about to leave, he tells Rey, he says, Rey, give Leia my love. And he was always kind of had the hots for Leia.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought that was a really, really, really touching moment that the movie really needed. Because sometimes I think we as fans see Leia as General Leia or the princess, but sometimes it's nice to get her back to more of a humanish kind of role.
Side.
Yeah, we kind of see her emotional side a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then they have a battle in the desert. All right. Once again, in Return of the Jedi, they had a big old battle in the desert. So, and in this one, they have the stormtroopers flying around. And that one, they had Boba Fett flying around.
Yes.
Kind of
that's where that sand
bringing it right back. Yep. And instead of the sand thing eating them this time, they're getting swallowed into into that hole.
Yeah, some kind of quicksand shit.
Yeah, like I don't know what it was, something kind of weird. And then let's see. Whoa! I'm going through my notes here. And then they come across that dagger, and Rey has a flash, flash of the future, and there she was sitting on the throne, on the throne of the Sith, which was a badass throne. I mean, if you're going to do a throne, that was a bad motherfucking throne.
It would
And
be, of
then,
course.
yeah, that was badass looking. And they can't read it, but 3PO can read it, so he reads it. But then, because they got to find the Sith finder, he can't read it. He can read it. He can understand it, but he can't speak it because of a prime directive. He states he can't do a law that was passed by the Senate.
Did we just go RoboCop
Right?
here?
Yep, prime directive.
Prime directive. Yeah, he had something in his programming that did not allow him to translate Sith languages.
Right, but that was because of a law that was passed by the Senate. Now, flashback: who controlled the Senate?
The Sith.
Palpatine. Palpatine controlled it.
So of course he wanted to censor things.
Right, because he knew his ultimate end game. So, that tells us that this motherfucker's been planning this shit for a long time.
Yep.
And then Rey force heals. There's that big sand snake that pops up. Rey, of course, she's not scared. She force heals him. And now, that kind of got me thinking. Baby Yoda fucking force healed that fucking in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, what's his name? I can't think of his name, but he played Chubbs in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, he got force healed by the Baby Yoda, which was I kind of thought was kind of neat.
Yeah.
And then they find out, they get it, and they go to take off, and they realize that Chewie's been taken by the stormtroopers. And we also get introduced. Is that where we get introduced to the Knights of Ren? Oh
yeah.
Such a badass name for a group of soldiers, the Knights of Ren. I just like that. I thought that was really, really cool. But anyways, so they see Chewie, they see him getting arrested, they put him on the ship, and then the ship takes off. And next thing you know, Rey's trying to pull the ship back. Like, get back here. And she's actually doing it. Once again,
style.
Right. Showing how powerful she truly is, because Luke couldn't even pull the X-Wing out of the water. Remember? He was like, I just can't. And here she is pulling this motherfucking ship back, right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden Kylo Ren is there, and he starts going up against her, trying to pull back and forth like a big old game of tug of war.
Yes.
And what happens? Holy fuck. The most badass thing that happens ever. Ooh, Rey shoots fucking lightning. Sith power electric bolts out of her goddamn hands. Ooh,
just like Palpatine.
What? Just like Palpatine. Now, didn't Yoda do that?
Yoda, I don't remember if I don't remember if what happened is Dooku did that, and Yoda was able to take them and he was I don't know, containing them and then throwing them back.
And is that what was this? Okay, I couldn't remember. So anyway, so now we know. Now we know she full on has Palpatine. She has Sith powers in her. We don't know what yet. At this point in time, we don't know what, but we know she has Sith powers in her.
Yeah, she has lightning
Holy fuck. But when they blew that ship up, and I thought of Chewie getting destroyed.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. I know they're putting them to rest. I'm like, but that was not Chewie.
Yeah, I was like, they can't do it this way.
Not like this. Yeah.
I was blown away. And then they head to Kijimi, right?
Yes.
And a couple of side notes in Kijimi that I have found out since I watched it. When they're outside walking around somewhere, there's a guy that's all bundled up in rags walks by them. And I don't know if he says something or not, but that guy happens to be Kevin Smith.
Fucker.
Yeah. It turns out that J.J. Abrams contacted him when he had his heart attack. And said, listen, you survive this what you're going through, and you get better, I'll put you in Star Wars.
Wow.
And so he got better, lost a shit ton of weight, and sent him a text, hey,